Jasmine Crockett is out there every day making a mess of her district. She's out there making a fool of herself. She's putting on some fake cadence. She doesn't speak that way. She's not from South Dallas. She's from St. Louis. She grew up in private schools and is not like most people in her district. So calling her out is partly fun for me, but it's also important. So I think the people in that district deserve a whole lot better. And I think a whole lot better would be Sholdon Daniels. He is a District 30 candidate in the great state of Texas who's taking on Jasmine Crockett in the midterm election. Sholdon, how are you? Nice to meet you.
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. So last night, Jasmine Crockett on her private account on X blocked me because I called her out for her private school. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being a private school person. I'm for school choice in Texas. There's nothing wrong with having an upbringing where you've got some goods, some wealth in your family. I'm fine with that. The problem is, Sholdon, she's pretending she's somebody she's not, and she's trying to trick people. Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely. It's textbook pandering. And she knows that the people of TX30, we don't even have schools that cost $55,000 or $35,000 a year. That's not the reality for any of the children in our district. And so I guess in order to blend in or to camouflage herself, I guess she wanted to portray this caricature of what she thinks it means to be a Black person in TX30.
Yeah, well, isn't that overtly racist? I mean, Obama did it. Kamala Harris has done it. Hillary Clinton tried to do it with this strange cadence that she doesn't speak like. And now Jasmine Crockett, who we had just a couple of years ago, a piece of video of her going, "Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here, and I hope to really represent the district." And now she's like doing dances to R&B songs. The whole thing is very strange to me. Don't they realize that people like you and others in the Black community don't fall for it?
Absolutely. But what she's doing is, she's deflecting. She has no policy solutions. She's admitted this. She has no business being on Capitol Hill. She knows this. And so the best thing that she can do to stay in the headlines is to do these outlandish things and to say these offensive things just to try and stay in the limelight.
But I get it, but stay in the limelight but not serve the district. So let's do this, because I don't know anything about the district, although we're on WBAP in Dallas, and I've been to Dallas plenty of times. I don't know this district specifically. I'm gonna read off the cities that are in it, and then if you don't mind, just tell me what the district is all about. You've got Dallas, which is Love Field, Uptown, Downtown, Southside, also DeSoto, Duncanville, Lancaster, Arlington, Grand Prairie, Cedar Hill. I think it's Ovia, could be Ovilla, I'm not sure. Glen Heights, Hutchins, Wilmer, and is it Seagoville? So all of that is included. All that is included in the district. What is the district about? Because she's never said one thing to me, somebody who doesn't live there, about what her district wants and needs or even what it looks like.
Okay, well, it's a very diverse district. It's about 40% African Americans of all ages and abilities. You have about 20% Caucasian population, 5 to 10% mixed, and then the rest are Spanish speaking. Okay, so it's not majority African American, and we absolutely are not this big monolithic welfare district to where, how Jasmine tries to portray it like everybody in our district is concerned with things like SNAP and WIC and freebies from the government. That's actually not the case. The more prevalent thing that you'll see in our district, it's going to be small business owners. You're going to see a lot of work trucks with business logos and phone numbers on them. You walk down the streets in many of the districts, you're going to see children playing in the streets, playing in the parks. So there's families. There are people who are, maybe not the richest or the wealthiest people, but they're hardworking, honest people. Okay. And what they want is opportunity. We don't need more illegal immigration. We don't need open borders, and we don't need the Democrats trying to tax us into the ground.
I love that you said all of that, because Jasmine Crockett is literally out there saying, take down Tesla, take down Elon Musk. She's out there saying we need more free stuff. As you said, freebies from the central government. We shouldn't go and find government waste, fraud, and abuse and save that money and do better for a district like hers. She's on Charlemagne every other day. She's on any CNN or MSNBC show that will take her with a picture of herself behind her. I don't know if you've ever done that. I've never had a picture of me behind me as I'm appearing somewhere. It appears to be some sort of cult of personality, but she is representing. I love that you just said all that, because Sholdon, she's representing your district as the one that has their hands out and wants Papa government to take care of them.
Absolutely. She succeeded Eddie Bernice Johnson. Eddie Bernice Johnson and the Democrats, they've had control over TX30 for over 30 years. I think she came in 92. But what do we have to show for it? We have high crime. We have failing schools, struggling small businesses because they're being taxed and regulated into the ground. We have leadership right now that's all talk. Down here in Texas, we say all hat and no cattle. Yeah. And that's kind of what Jasmine Crockett is. She's not even really from Texas. She's an embarrassment to the state. She disrespects our governor, our president, and everybody that she can think of that's not a complete and utter worshiper at her altar. And we're tired of it down here.
DanielsForUs.com, DanielsForUS.com. Go and support Sholdon Daniels. You know, I'm in Texas as well. I'm in the San Antonio area, and I know Greg Abbott very well. And here's a guy who's never once, and I've known him probably 20 years, he's never once, even when he was the Attorney General, said, look at me, I'm in a wheelchair, feel bad for me. He's never done that. He's a guy that deals with his disability and still has succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. Can you, in your heart of hearts, imagine why she would have said something so stupid as to call him Governor Hot Wheels?
You know, Jasmine is not the most kind-hearted person, you know.
I guess not.
Yeah, anybody who would say something like that about somebody who, you know, became disabled due to a tragic accident and then still continue to devote their life to public service instead of wallowing in the shadows.
Right.
It takes a certain type of depraved heart to do that, right? Now, this kind of mirrors her behavior when we lost Botham Jean here in Dallas, and she went around pretending and lying, doing press conferences, saying that she represented Botham Jean and his family and his estate, when that was a complete and utter fabrication. The family actually had to serve her with a cease and desist to get her to stop using their deceased son's name for her own personal gain.
Wait a second. So is that the case where there was the wrong apartment, the police officer walked in and killed the guy? I feel horrible about that. And his brother was so extremely forgiving of her at that trial. Right. I couldn't believe it. I had no idea. Jasmine Crockett tried to claim that she was representing them?
It's not a try to claim. She did claim it. She held herself out very, very publicly, held a press conference and appeared many, many times saying and holding herself out as being a representative of the Botham Jean estate and of Botham Jean and using his name. There's an article on my timeline. I'll repost it so you can go back and read it. It was written by, a journalist at the Texas Tribune.
At SHOLDONDANIELS over on X. Go and follow him. He's going to repost that for us so we can go and see that. Boy, that's got to be like a bright spotlight on that. People need to understand that she's not only a race baiter who thinks that she somehow can change cadence and how she speaks to get somebody to vote for her. She's also somebody who's a liar. If what you're saying is true, and I believe you, then she's a liar as well. So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it's absolutely true. And the point is, Jasmine is the type of person who will step on anybody or anything in order to get to where she's trying to go. And we're starting to see that play out in real time.
Well, we also saw her in the halls of Congress the other day where a guy is asking her a question about why is she ginning up violence against Elon Musk or Tesla. And she puts her hand on the phone, allegedly scratches the guy, says she thinks she's above the law that way. And then the next day, a reporter in the same halls that are our halls in Congress, I'm sure once you get to Congress, you won't be afraid of a question. Somebody asks her a question about whether she should apologize to Greg Abbott. And there's a Capitol Police officer who makes a move toward the reporter as if you're not allowed to talk to her, ask her a question. What is that? When you see that, that's got to be even more bothersome. Now she thinks she's above even a question from somebody who represents the people.
Yeah, it's just there's no accountability when it comes to Jasmine Crockett or these radical leftists. They need to be in a room that's been completely and utterly sanitized of anybody who may have a dissenting opinion. And now she's to the point to where, she has police essentially blocking the people from being able to hold her accountable. It's not just this reporter from being able to ask her a question. She's blocking her constituents. She's blocking America from even being able to attempt to hold her accountable. And it's time for her to go. It's time for a leader who's going to put the people first and someone that's going to work and not just waste like Jasmine and these radical leftists.
It is Sholdon Daniels. Go and support his candidacy, DanielsForUS.com, DanielsForUs.com, and Daniels is with an E at the end, DanielsForUs.com. Running against Jasmine Crockett next time around, Texas 30. She's from St. Louis. There seems to be a hotbed of lunacy from St. Louis. Cori Bush, you had the DA there that had to be fired by the Attorney General because she wasn't prosecuting any cases. Soros seems to have a grasp on that area of the world in Missouri, although Missouri is more of a red state than it is a blue. In St. Louis, they seem to own what goes on there. Sholdon, do you think that they're sending people to places like Texas to try to turn us blue here?
Absolutely. I tell people all the time that I feel like Texas is under attack in more ways than one. These liberal companies, right, or these liberal-leaning companies dumping hundreds of thousands of people in our urban centers here in Texas. people moving here from these blue states, and they're trying to flip our urban centers. And so I think what happened is the Democrats realized that it's really tough to win out in rural Texas. And so they concentrated all their efforts into our major urban centers. But that's what my campaign is. This is the tip of the spear to start fighting back against that thing. We're going to turn Dallas back red how it should be.
Well, can a Republican win? That was my next question. Now, you're an Army veteran. You're a guy who's a husband, a father, an attorney. You're from that area originally. Can you win? Can a Republican win that district?
Not any Republican can win, sir. It's going to take me. I'm from, I have the perfect mix, right? And so all the challenges and all the things that the Democrats have been using traditionally to discourage, the more conservative people from running in TX30, none of that stuff works on me. Okay, they've already referred to me as this unicorn candidate, and they're already deferring to my ability to do the job. And now their argument is I need to wait my turn and allow Jasmine to spin her wheels. And so I just think that's not right. The people obviously want to go in another direction in America. I think Jasmine is standing in the way, not only standing in the way, but she's leading the charge of the resistance to try and stop America from healing itself from within. And so I'm taking it upon myself to step in and lead this fight to not only defeat Jasmine Crockett, but to flip Dallas.
I love the way that you said that. People in that district, from what you described earlier, are people who work. They want opportunity. I'm sure that a lot of them believe they don't have the same opportunity because of people like Jasmine Crockett saying they don't. So how do you restore that belief in the American dream and opportunity in a community that's been told there isn't any for them?
I'm going to put focus on making sure that these kids can get a good education. And then I'm going to turn my attention to the small businesses of the district. And when I say small businesses, I don't mean just one or two people working there. That goes all the way up to, about 500 people at the business. And that's kind of, the backbone of TX30. You're going to have hardworking families and small businesses. And so my focus is going to be on cutting red tape, clearing a path for any of these young entrepreneurs to get out and get access to capital. Because I think it's a shame that in 2025, an 18-year-old can get $300,000 to learn how to go underwater basket weaving, right? But we can't give them $10,000 to start a business when they're smart and they got a good business plan. And so I want to work with the SBA. I want to figure out the criteria that they're considering when they're giving out these loans. And I want to tweak some things to let these young people and let these people who want to start businesses have more access and to make it easier for them to start businesses.
Jasmine Crockett is a mess to those who are watching and listening. Go and support this man, Sholdon Daniels. He's taking her on, a Republican District 30 candidate in the great state of Texas, wants to be a U.S. representative. I think he should be. DanielsForUs.com. DanielsForUs.com. Again, Daniels is DANIELS. DanielsForUs.com. You are an attorney. You're an Army veteran. You're a guy who obviously loves the area because you haven't left the area. And when you're going around the district, are people whispering, she's making us look stupid? Because, again, she's a reflection of District 30. Are they done with her, or are people still locked in that they love her?
They didn't vote Jasmine in because she's got the best ideas or that she has any solution, any surprise. It's purely a personality cult. And so what I've had to do is to show people that, look, that's fine, but she belongs on YouTube. She belongs in a beauty salon. She doesn't belong on Capitol Hill. This is what the job is, and this is why we keep complaining about nothing changing in our district, because these are the types of people that we are allowing to represent us in DC. And so people get it, and they understand where I come from. They know my history, and if they don't, when I tell them, they know somebody that knows somebody that knows me and that can vouch, and I'm winning over her most ardent supporters every single day, every day.
What I love about what you're bringing, Sholdon, is I'm also on in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that has been ceded to the blue. The left has it. You've got people like Ilhan Omar who are representing the area. Doesn't make any sense. And a lot of people who historically lived in Minneapolis moved away. They're now in the red part of the state. They're in the conservative part of the state because they didn't feel like they could change it. I love that you're still there. Was there any push, any sort of yanking or tugging at your heartstrings that maybe we should move away from here because it's turned so radical that we can't change it? I mean, I love that you're still there. Was there ever a thought, though, to take your family away from there?
There is no safe place to go in Dallas right now. The crime is out of control. Democrats run City Hall. We have local candidates running, and we're looking to have some pretty good success in May to flip City Hall, turn them red, and we're going to have to attack it from all angles. Yeah, and so, there's nowhere that I can move to that's going to make me forget or to make it less evident to me that TX30 needs good representation.
All good.
And that I'm the man for the job.
Well, let me ask you, what do you think her goal is? Is her ultimate goal to be a senator? Does she think she could be the president? What do you think the goal is here? I think the goal is to just enrich herself and to go out there and act the fool. But is there a goal beyond that, do you think, governmentally?
She doesn't have any policy solutions, and that's from her own mouth. Okay. And this is just recently, this week, she said this. Now, her goal, based on her own words, again, is to get the bag, so to speak. And so what she means by that is when she gets so much money, she will step down.
Wow.
So she's here for money. She's made that pretty clear. And so that's why she put up such a big fight on the USAID revelation. That's why she was against any type of refund. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how somebody can be a U.S. House of Representative or a U.S. representative and hate America the way Jasmine Crockett does, the way AOC does. And I hope that more people around the country, especially in these districts that have these more outspoken radical leftist representatives, step up to the plate and run for office. We got a wave sweeping the nation right now, and now is the time to step up.
I pray that you're able to get this job, and we're going to push it as hard as we can. It's Sholdon. It's actually DanielsForUs.com. DanielsForUs.com. Go and support. You don't have to be in Dallas to support the man. Go and check out the website, see who he is, and see why he would be a better choice than Jasmine Crockett. He's running for Texas 30. That is the 30th district of the great state of Texas as a Republican. It would be great to turn it red. Before I let you go, I got to ask you this. How stupid was it to trade Luka Doncic? Come on.
Oh, my God.
Come on, brother. Come on, man.
You know what? I hadn't watched the game ever since the news broke.
Are people in Dallas still mad? They got to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know how many murals had to come down?
Really? Was he painted all over the place?
All over the place.
I've never seen
that up.
I had to because I'm a fan of, I was a fan of the Mavericks. I've interviewed Mark Cuban a few times. Nice enough guy, too far liberal though. But he never would have let that happen. The management or the ownership has to have another plan. I had to bring it up because I just watched him last night where that last second tip in by LeBron James on his shot where the Lakers won. If the Lakers get a championship because of Dallas trading him, I'm going to be very, very upset.
Me too. I don't know how deep or how true it is, but allegedly the rumor is they're wanting to tank the team to move him to Vegas or something. I don't know.
Because it's a gambling family, right? It's a casino family, right?
Yeah, I don't know. This is just the rumblings in the streets, so to speak.
Well, I'm sorry to bring that up and end it on a sad note, but I mean, Luka's fine. He didn't die or anything, but the fact that it was traded just absolutely blew my mind, and it made me think, why am I watching NBA basketball anymore if they could do something this dumb? Sholdon, I appreciate meeting you. Please come back on again. As she keeps on acting the fool, we'll keep on countering it with somebody who's steady as she goes for District 30 in Texas. Thanks so much for coming on.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good one.
I really appreciate you. It is Daniels for US or DanielsForUs.com. Go and support him, and we're back after this. Stay here.